Hello, and welcome back to It's a Very Exciting Time, a podcast by a UFO nerd and his tolerant friend. My name is Scott, and I've been fascinated by the phenomenon my whole life.
And I'm Chuck. I'm an aerospace nerd and a tolerant friend.
We started this podcast because since 2017, there have been shocking revelations, from news of secret Pentagon programs to confirmed videos of astonishing craft. In a nutshell, now that we know the government has recovered non-human technology.
Or at least we will, once Grusch gets in the SCIF.
Ooh, we got the like close-up secretive audio there. It raises natural questions. If UFOs are real, what else? Suddenly, some of these other parts of the phenomenon that seemed unlikely are pulled into the realm of the possible.
And they may still be unlikely. But even if it's new science and not aliens...
Woo. It's a very exciting time.
And a quick reminder before we get into it. If you want to support what we do here, the best way is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/veryexcitingtime and our Discord, which is on our website, veryexcitingtime.com.
That's right. And
all right.
For those of you audio listeners who are listening to the podcast rather than on YouTube, let me paint a picture for you. Normally, Chuck comes to us from his office. He's got bookshelves behind him, a couple of flags, things like that. Very, very standard.
Yeah.
Currently, Chuck appears to be sitting outside a stately veranda in a beautiful garden, gorgeous sunlit day. He's wearing a floral Hawaiian shirt and a hat, dappled sunlight on him. What's going on over there, buddy? You coming to us on location?
Well, yeah. I'm glad you asked. So, my family is in town, and I have been booted from the office because that is now the children's room. So I am recording on the front patio, but it happens that today is just glorious.
Right on.
I know that this is uncomfortably hot for most people, but it's 82 Fahrenheit, and it's just beautiful today.
We hit 80 degrees in Portland a few days ago, and it made the news.
It was mass panic, yeah.
Yeah. So another funny thing about Chuck's location is Chuck was not on vacation, but away from the podcast last time we sat down to record because he was taking a business trip to India. So I had originally thought I was going to record like a little mini episode that week. I was like, you know what? I never get to take a vacation. I'm going to take this week off. I thought, and
I'm glad.
Chuck and I had talked, and he had said, okay, we should be able to record on the 30th. I will be heavily jet lagged, but I will be home, and we should be able to record. I was like, all right, I'm going to take him at his word. But when I sat down to plan the episode, there wasn't a whole lot going on. It had been kind of a quiet week. And normally that's when I would fill it in and bring in like a historical episode, or maybe we'd finally do this UFOs 101 episode we've been threatening to record for over a year. But I thought, no, you know what? Chuck's going to be jet lagged. I'm going to be nice to him.
Yeah.
We've got one really big news story. We'll talk about that. It'll be kind of a short episode. It'll be fine. And then I log in. Here's Chuck looking relaxed and hanging out in the backyard. How'd your India trip go, buddy? You don't look very jet lagged.
Oh, it went great. I got to New York, and after like 2 days of delayed flights, someone finally looked at my India visa and realized that I had made some critical errors and sent me home. They're like, if it had just been, like your middle name or just one number missing in your passport, maybe we could have gone for it, but your name and your passport number are wrong. You are not going to India, my friend. It's like, okay.
You're reminding me of XKCD had a book where he did like technical diagrams, but written using the 1,000 most common words in the English language, which has the effect of making them feel like children's books because it's all very approachable language. And there was a part about a rocket. It was like, this is the part that the
upgoer fire.
Yeah, this is the part that the fire comes out of. It should be pointing at the ground. If it is not pointing at the ground, you are not going to space today, and you are going to have a very bad day. So
Yep.
I'm imagining you in the office being told you are not going to India today and you are going to have a very bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about right. But I got to come home. I got to rest and prep the house for a week, and I think that was tremendous, actually.
Beautiful. Well, maybe we can have you record on location more often. Next time we've got some breaking news, we can have you coming to us live from the duck pond.
So I really wanted to go out to the duck pond, but I'm gonna have to figure out how to get internet down
Oh,
there.
yes.
Yeah, but we do have an alien pond just about a block away. So.
All right. Well, let's get to the meat of the episode. Like I said, we've got one story, so I'm not going to keep everybody very long. It's going to be sort of a shorter episode, but it's a very good story. So you may remember we were talking about Congress last time. They were talking about, as usual, as they've been talking about for over a year now, how to get David Grusch, our good boy, our UAP whistleblower, into a SCIF, because when he testified at the UAP hearing in front of the House Oversight Committee, he said, I can't tell you most of this stuff because it's classified, but if you get me in a classified setting, I can tell you names, dates, places. I can tell you where the UFOs are stored. And they have been trying and failing to get him in a SCIF ever since. There's been all sorts of complications about maybe his security clearance was revoked. Maybe he's not allowed to talk to people. So anyway, back in the early March, Representative Eric Burlison said, we're looking into bringing Grusch into a SCIF and hiring him onto staff. Now, one of the things we've talked about is that Congress people have sort of an implicit security clearance situation. They don't literally have security clearances, but just by virtue of being elected Congress people, they are assumed to be cleared for everything. That does not apply to their staff, but Congress people all have a certain number of security clearances that they can hand out. So, Burlison said, either we would hire him onto my personal staff or onto the committee. I already talked to Oversight Committee Chairman Comer's office, Chairman Comer's team about it. They're researching it. I can hire him from my personal office, but I think it would be ideal if he were part of the Oversight Committee, because then he's not just working for me, he's working for the efforts of the team. I want to get him hired, I want to get him on board, and then just move quickly because we don't have a lot of time.
Oh, that's interesting. What does he mean by not a lot of time?
I believe he is referring to the 6-month window that the task force for the declassification of federal secrets is operating under, which he is part of.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I kind of forgot about the 6-month thing.
Yeah.
So am I right to think that so far that committee has mostly been focused on like JFK and Epstein stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason we haven't been talking about it on this podcast, because they haven't said anything about UFOs since the initial press release. That said, someone asked Burlison the same thing, and he said, yeah, absolutely. It's been focused on Epstein and JFK. I've got my head down. I think Luna has, given me a lot of latitude to do this research.
Okay. Yeah, that's promising. So Luna kind of put him in charge of the UFO stuff while she focuses on JFK and Epstein.
That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, who knows? We're reading between the lines here, but it's better than thinking the entire task force is solely focused on JFK stuff. Burlison has been an outspoken advocate on the UAP stuff. He's part of the UAP caucus.
Right.
So it kind of makes sense that Luna would kind of divide and conquer. If they've only got 6 months, keep one person at least working on the UFO stuff while the rest of them are focused on JFK.
So this was beginning of March, correct?
Yeah, it was March 11th, actually.
Okay. Okay, cool.
And a little later, Burlison talked a little more about the motivation to hire Grusch as opposed to just like restoring his clearances. He said, I think it's frustrating to me that we can't continue to get any further. one of the things that was highlighted to me is that we don't have someone who's an expert in this field helping us navigate the intelligence community. The thing is, you don't know which questions to ask. So how do you determine where to go when you don't have the first clue?
Right? If only there was some expert who wanted to help with this.
Yeah, exactly. News Nation reporter Joe Khalil expanded on this. He said, "This is why someone like David Grusch, with his experience and with the claims that he's now made under oath, is so valuable. He can help out Congressman Burlison when he's in committee to ask the right questions, to follow the right lines of inquiry, to pull the right threads. And you can just imagine how valuable having someone like that is, not just as an outside advisor, but inside your office as a paid worker and a staffer. It could be a game changer."
I have this mental picture of Grush like in one of those unmarked vans, feeding lines to Burlison in committee, like, say this.
Ask him about the ducks.
Exactly.
Burlison went on, he said, "Hiring Grush gives us the precision to do a rifle shot at the topic and try to get the answers quick."
Yeah. Yeah, with just a couple months, you really don't have time to mess around, do you?
Exactly.
You got to get the right person, the right expert, and just get in there.
Yeah. As badly as I want this handled right, I'm like everybody else. I want fast results. So I have to admit, I'm a little encouraged hearing everybody talk about it. Ticking clock. We got to get it done. No time to waste.
Yeah, for sure.
So on March 21st, News Nation reporter Joe Khalil. Oh, sorry, I skipped ahead. On March 19th, Representative Anna Paulina Luna tweeted, she said, "I spoke to Representative Burlison, and he has obtained permission to bring Grush on as a staffer. We will be working directly with him, conducting investigations."
Hey, that's awesome. So is he joining Burlison's staff or the Oversight Committee?
Yeah. So a couple days later, News Nation reporter Joe Khalil reported on this and clarified. He said, "UAP whistleblower David Grusch has officially been approved for and accepted a position to work on Congressman Burlison's personal office staff. Grush's title will be senior advisor and will mostly advise on UAP UFO related topics. His role will begin as a temporary 4-month post. Important note, Grusch will not be working with the House Oversight Committee, the committee before which he once testified. He will only be working with and advising Representative Burlison, who serves on the Oversight Committee and on the Federal Secrets Task Force."
Okay. So I remember from a while ago, Comer, the head of the Oversight Committee, was saying, like, "Hey, I have their back. I will get people hired if we need it." This sort of implies that maybe he doesn't totally have their back on that.
Yeah, I mean, this is all us reading between the lines, but it's hard to draw another conclusion when just a few weeks ago you had Burlison saying, "I'm in contact with Comer's staff about bringing him on the committee." And then 2 weeks later, Burlison comes out and says, "Well, plan B was I hire him to my personal staff, which I've just done."
Yeah. Okay, so Grusch is going to be Burlison's personal UAP advisor. Burlison's digging into UFOs for Luna's task force. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. On March 27th, so just a few days ago, David Grusch said, "I am both immensely humbled and deeply honored to join Congressman Burlison. The public is rightfully demanding to know the truth. I will use all my expertise to support Representative Burlison and help the U.S. Congress restore full oversight to investigate and hold those accountable who have broken the law and lied not only to our Congress, but also to the Executive Office of the President, the Director of National Intelligence, and the Department of Justice."
Wow. It's like so some big assertions there as well.
Yep.
But okay, here's the question though. did he get his clearance back?
Yeah, that is the question. Burlison said he starts on April 1st. He's filling out all the paperwork. We're working on his clearance. That was, in fact, one of my first actions. As soon as he signed and we agreed, I signed a document to request that his clearance be restored.
Okay, interesting. I hate when people start on April 1st.
I know, right? It's April Fools, guys. The UFOs were fake.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so as soon as they have that, then we can get him in a SCIF, right?
You'd hope, yeah. Good news. Representative Luna on the 27th also said, we got that confirmed for sometime in April, getting Grusch in a SCIF with Lou Elizondo and Christopher Mellon.
Wow. That is like the dream right there.
Right?
That's going to be what I wouldn't do to be a fly on that wall.
Yeah. And Lou Elizondo tweeted on the 28th, he said, Chris Mellon, myself, and our colleagues were in Washington, D.C. this week and had the opportunity to meet with several senators and representatives and their staff to discuss the current UAP and drone issues facing our nation. Nice. I am extremely encouraged and humbled to see the level of effort and investment by these officials. Please keep in mind that in our eagerness to obtain transparency, we need to allow them the necessary time to work on these incredibly complex issues. This is a great step forward, but we need to have patience as they begin to peel back decades of denial and misinformation. I am very encouraged by the direction they are taking, and so should you.
Yeah, that's I Big Daddy Lou, always like bringing it back. Well, so that's great. So we've got a sense of the timeline. So 4 months starting April 1st means like end of July. Is that kind of what
right to me?
Okay.
Now, who knows? You know, like we don't know if Grusch's employment will be extended beyond. He said it begins with 4 months, but maybe they extend it.
Right.
Also, the federal the Federal Secrets Task Force, that it starts at 6 months, but there's nothing saying that doesn't get extended. So it definitely gives us a sense of timeline. But there's no guarantee anything happens in that timeline or that they don't extend it. But at the very least, we appear to have taken a concrete step towards the thing they have been threatening to do for over a year, which is get all these people who claim they have secret knowledge in a secure facility so they can testify directly to Congress. So David Grusch, Lou Elizondo, Chris Mellon, all together in a SCIF testifying to Congress and Arrow. Fingers crossed, man.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right. So just one quick math question. Does that 4 month temporary contract, does that correspond with the 6 month task force?
Oh boy.
Time?
Let's see.
It's okay if you don't know.
When did the task force get announced? The task force was announced on... I'm scrolling back through our own notes because I don't remember.
That's why we do it. People sometimes ask us why we read from a script, and this is like a big reason that we get to like scroll back.
I don't have it written down, but it was at least a month ago.
Okay, sorry.
Month and a half, like 6 weeks ago, give or take.
Yeah, 4 months is a very strange contract duration.
That feels like it's meant to run out the duration of the task force. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this seems about right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. This is very hopeful.
Very hopeful.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time. No, I'm very encouraged. Like I said, I didn't want to come to you with a bunch of filler today. Frankly, there hasn't been a lot of news out of Congress. They've been understandably distracted with a lot of other stuff that you may have heard is going on in the federal government at the moment. Understandably, UFOs aren't at the top of anybody's priority list right now. But regardless of politics, it's nice to see that we've got one solid concrete step forward.
Yeah.
And, you know, Chuck is back from India.
I'm back.
Well rested. So you'll see us again in 2 weeks, and we'll be coming to you with a regular length episode at that time.
Heck yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us on It's a Very Exciting Time. You can find show notes and more on our website, veryexcitingtime.com, as well as links to our Discord and social media.
And you can feel free to email us at Scott or Chuck at veryexcitingtime.com. And if you'd like to support the show, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/veryexcitingtime.
And Chuck, as always, my wife thanks you for listening to me talk about UFOs so she doesn't have to.